that we do not want to see is the sunshine. If we get this sunshine in here, it could spell some very serious weather coming in.
That's right. Oh, were you going to say, Alexandra?
Oh, you know, Matt, you were explaining in our afternoon meeting, I thought this was interesting, that the sunshine actually this afternoon will make the conditions tonight worse because of what it can do to the atmosphere. Is that right?
That's right. You're giving extra fuel to the fire, kind of putting gasoline on the atmosphere to produce more thunderstorms. So you're looking live in Fort Smith where the clouds are starting to break a little bit, and we're actually watching more skies break off into the west, and that'll help more storms fire up east of Tulsa and then come in. Right now we've got some clouds on and off, and even a couple downpours headed into Fort Smith. But we have a new tornado watch everywhere in this red color until 10 o'clock. That includes southwest Missouri, comes right into all of northwest Arkansas, the heart of the River Valley were included. That includes Fort Smith, Van Buren, and much of eastern Oklahoma as well. As these fronts get closer, we're sandwiched in between two fronts that are helping to produce these thunderstorms. But this is the stronger one. This is the one that's probably going to produce the nastiest storms. But this one's not to be overlooked. We're watching continued showers and rumbles of thunder try to form closer to this front. In fact, one batch of that's trying to come into Fort Smith right now, kind of on and off rain taking place in the fort. But we're really watching these storms coming into Joplin right now. They're at 44, coming into I-49 too at the interchange. But what we're really going to be looking at will be these cells that fire up over time. You also have some clearing skies back off towards the west east of Tulsa. Look at this storm. This one's starting to fire up just a little bit west of Okmulgee. And so over the next probably 2 hours, we'll watch the sky in the west get more active and things will cross eastbound. So right now it's 4 o'clock. A storm could as soon as come into maybe your neighborhood by 5. We're not talking about this stuff. This stuff's kind of junk at this time. We're just watching some downpours, give you a little rain in Sequoia County and LaFleur County. Maybe even try to cool off the atmosphere a little bit. This is actually good for us to get before storms. But maybe closer to 6 o'clock for a lot of us watching the storm threat up and down the state line. Maybe more 8 o'clock for our eastern counties, Madison, Franklin, Johnson, Logan counties. We'll just wait a little bit longer. But we're right in that window here very shortly of watching the storms pop up. Right now, Fort Smith's getting some of that rain. We have some just on the other side of the state line, closer to Moffett coming in. But coming in from the SPC, Storm Prediction Center, a level 3 threat has been increased for the River Valley and northwest Arkansas. See how it's expanded and now includes all of Johnson County, the vast majority of Franklin County. It includes Crawford County, anyone outside of Van Buren and Cedarville, so it includes Mountainburg and Alma. Down to Ozark, Mulberry were included too, and then northern Logan County, just outside of Paris, headed towards Subiaco, Scranton, Coal Hill. We're watching that level 3 threat. You go back to the south and west, bound to a level 2 severe threat. But what this really means is that we could have hail up to 2 inches in size. There's a lot of heat in the atmosphere, plus some of the sunshine that Darren and Alexander were talking about. That adds to some heat. So what we're really watching will be these large hailstones high up into the atmosphere. But the question is, how much do they melt by the time they come to the ground with some of these larger cells? They could be 4 inches up there, but by the time they get to us, maybe an inch or so, that's still very large hail. That is severe hail, and that could do some damage. We have 80s, so we're going to be warming those hailstones as they come down, trying to melt them a little bit. But right now, mid-80s in northwest Arkansas, plenty of heat, plenty of humidity too. In fact, it's muggy outside big time in the River Valley with our dew points stuck in the 70s. All right, now let's look at the skies. In fact, we've got crews all across 5 country watching the skies as well. We were talking earlier, once you start seeing clouds, they get a little bit crisper on the top. Look at this one. Once it gets crisper, it means it can start to grow and turn into a thunderstorm. You're looking at these clouds, they're very fuzzy. Not a lot's going to happen with them. So you got to watch for those crisp clouds, especially towards the sun. So right there on the east side of the Jack Links logo, that's where we're watching some thicker clouds. When you're watching in Pensacola and Fort Smith, you don't really see very much crispness. We're watching some more scattered showers come in. So we're probably good for at least another hour in Pensacola, other than some already rain that's going on. But the big storms, we can pause that for maybe a moment. Here's a look at Futurecast. By 6 o'clock, stronger storms trying to fire up, but then from 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, big storms across 5 country. Also, the problem is the upper level winds are not all that strong. We've got some good gusts here at the ground, though. Could get breezy at times. But because we don't have strong upper level winds, these storms aren't going to move very fast. That means they could dump a lot of water, so our flash flooding threat has gone up. In fact, a flood watch is now in effect for parts of 5 country, too. There's a lot of things going on. And for August, this is rare. But when you're looking at the 7-day forecast, we've got more scattered storms coming up into the weekend, so watch out for that. Otherwise, temperatures will start to warm back up over the next several days. But today, we do have that yellow weather alert coming in, so watch out for storms over the next few hours.
Well,
All right,
thank you so much for this, because there's
Yeah.
a lot to look out for.
For sure. It's
Yes.
going to be an active evening.
And this is one of those, I've heard you talk before about a storm getting rained out. That ain't going to happen with this.
No, in fact, there's about 2 to 3 inches of water sitting above our heads right now.
Okay.
That's a lot you can tap into.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All right, Matt, thanks.
One company is taking home workouts